Okay, welcome back. It's Steve Robinson from the Middleware Shop. In my last video, created literally about half an hour ago, is that I tried to create a profile in the same location as the deployment manager profile. And what is supposed to happen in using the managed profiles is that we obviously, but we're appending the profile name to this path, so it's a unique path. So what I did is I installed my first federated node into the profiles folder of the WebSphere bin just to create a unique folder because I couldn't get it to work. So what I'm going to do now is just try it again in this same folder path again, and it should actually create it. And if it does, then we know it's just to do with something to do with the path evaluation in the ant files inside WebSphere. So what we're going to do now is we're going to essentially run create node 2 and see what happens. So what we'll do is we'll go and look for the logs, and we'll see now that we have a new log being created for node 02. So if I tail this log, we'll see that the installation is actually occurring at this stage. So all is good. Yeah, so now we can see that the profile has been successfully created. So logging into the application server console, if we click on nodes, what we'll see is a new federated node called node 02. So it works. So why didn't my other one work? Well, we can see that I'd set up a file path called var/app/was8nd/profiles, and essentially we created the deployment manager here. So if I copy this path and then go into my script, we can see here that I'd made a mistake in my videos. So it wasn't a WebSphere bug after all, I was too hasty. So what had happened is that during my editing I'd forgot to put apps in my path, and so what was happening is it thought that I was trying to install the profile into a location that did not exist. So we've proven that we're okay in WebSphere version 8 creating managed profiles. We can have multiple profiles in the same file system, as it were, which is what I do every day at work. Well, I don't work in WebSphere day to day as a consultant all the time, but that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. So good news is we now have 2 federated nodes, and in my next video I'll probably start looking at creating clusters and adding some servers, and then looking at IHS and other little goodies that allow us to utilize the clustering design of WebSphere version 8. So what I'm going to do now is very quickly show you how to remove running federated nodes. So we can see here that we have 2 federated nodes, node 1 and node 2, running in the cell. What we need to do now is go into the folders on disk and essentially go and remove and stop accordingly. So the first thing we have to do is we have to stop the appropriate node. So if we do a ps -ef grep java, we can see that we have several processes running. We have a node agent for cell node 01 and a node agent for 02, and we also have the deployment manager running as well, and some installation options still running in memory from a previous failed example. So what we're going to do is we're going to go very, very quickly and just find the binary root, because that's where the profiles are in this case. So we're going into WebSphere App Server profiles, and if we list this directory we can see that we have 2 profiles. So I'm now going to go into node 01 and change directory to the bin folder, and then I'm going to run stop node. So what this does is stops this particular node, and it will ask for a username and password because we have federated the nodes into a cell. So here we go, because we have X Windows, we are rendering this dialog. If you didn't, it would do it on the command line here. So the password is wasadmin in my case, as well as the username. So we now are stopping that particular node. While we're waiting for that node to stop, what we'll do is we'll it's already stopped, so what we can do now is go back to node 2 and its bin directory and stop that node. For those of you interested, I have scripts that do all of this for you, and they're going to be available on the middleware shop as part of my new mobile phone application released Christmas time 2012. So let's quickly stop this. If we now run a grep on the running processes for Java, we can see that we have the deployment manager. We also still have a listener from a failed installation. So what I can do is I can kill that as well, and that should remove any processes. Right, so what we've done now is stop the two nodes. What we need to do now is defederate each node. So now what we do is we navigate to the bin of each profile and we run remove node. What the remove node command will do is talk to the deployment manager and remove the federated profile. This then allows us to delete the profile. We'll have to authenticate once again. There are ways of stopping authentication. It depends on the security level that you require. You can modify soap.client.props in each profile to send through the authentication details, so you don't actually have to keep doing the password, but it's not recommended for production environments and serious environments in the enterprise, because then people can accidentally stop things without realizing that they're actually doing it. So by having the ability to authenticate stops people that aren't allowed in there, and also make sure you're happy that you're stopping the right process or removing the right process accordingly. So let's remove this node as well. So node 1 is now being removed. You will see that the log will tell us that there's a removal log that's being generated, remove node.log, and the removal of the cell is occurring. So we authenticate once again with the deployment manager to ensure that we're allowed to do this. It wouldn't be such a good idea if we could just do this in production, as I said earlier. So what it's doing now is defederating the nodes. So we have the nodes defederated. So if we go back to the administration console and refresh the console, we'll see that we no longer have those nodes federated in the console, in the actual cell. What we can do now is we can actually go and remove those nodes. So rm -rf star on those folders. Be careful with that command. If you've got root, you can see I'm in root for these demos to make them quicker. So yes, we now have a nice clean directory. There's nothing in there, so we have now defederated the nodes. So what I'm going to do now is stop the deployment manager and remove the deployment manager profile from the binaries. So to stop the deployment manager, I'm going to the profile where the deployment manager was, slightly different location, principle is the same. We're going to go stop manager in this case, and we will be asked to authenticate to make sure we can do what we're supposed to be doing. Here's our authentication. So now we're authenticating that. You can see now that the deployment manager process has stopped. So what we want to do now is go to opt/ibm/WebSphere, which is our application server root, then the bin folder, and what we're going to do now is remove the profile. So what I can do is run the .manage profiles.sh -delete -profile name dmgro1, and that essentially will run the deletion process to remove the deployment manager's profile. But we get an error because we still have the deployment manager running, or we cannot delete this profile for some reason. So let's go and find out what's actually happening. What I did was do a list of profiles, and I can see that I forgot to remove these profiles originally. So what we can do is we can run manage profiles dot validate I think it's validate So what I've done is run validate and update registry, and you can see here that it's now validated those. If I run it again, it should say that those profiles are no longer available, which is nice. And if we do print working directory, we should be okay. So let's try and remove the deployment manager again. We'll have to find out what that is. The reason we couldn't delete it, I was using the wrong name. It's dmgro1_prof, hence the reason to use list profiles. So now I'm removing the deployment manager profile from the installation. We now have successfully removed the profile. So what we can do now is change to the location where the profile was installed, and we'll see that there's a folder still there. Let's just have a look. It's basically just the logs to make sure that we're able to audit what we've done. So let's rm -rf the deployment manager. So now we have a clean installation of WebSphere ND binaries with no profiles on this box. I hope that helps you with your learning.